bring you into their world. It's not just chickens and the Angus herd. So take off your boots, relax, and go beyond the ranch.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Ranch, the very same show, just a brand new time. We're on, I can never keep them straight.
We have this. Can you just put this in your brain?
I'll put it in there. We are on standard time now?
Yeah.
So do you like daylight savings or standard time better? You like standard time? No. You like it the other way around. So this, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of just changing the time at all. I didn't just pick one and go with it.
Well, nobody likes it.
But
no one's yes, it's time-changing day.
Funny story, but when I worked in radio and I used to do overnights, it was kind of nice because you would.
But you'd have to work an extra hour.
This time of year, you'd work an extra hour, but in the spring, when you went ahead, you actually got an hour off.
Yeah, Jeff, he doesn't remember. It's like poof.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know.
Hi, I'm Mike.
I'm Erin.
Welcome, hanging out with us.
Hope everyone's doing okay, despite the fact that everyone feels weird today.
Yeah, exactly. I just, it is what it is. So, anyway, how are you? Jeff threw me all off now. He called me out, so I'm like, I can't even talk about, I lost my whole first 10 minutes that I was going to talk about.
Calling you on your bullcrap.
Yeah, exactly. So, Jeff, if you could just take over the conversation for about 10 minutes, I'd be very, very thankful.
I mean, you did chores already. After 5.
Yeah, so sunset here is at 5:50 something.
Did you get the turkeys in?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So those take a little bit. It
has to be a little darker.
A little darker, and I probably could have if I would have been ready for it. I probably could have went out about 5:45. It doesn't have to be totally dark to get the turkeys in. In fact, it's helpful if it's not totally dark because then you can find them. But being able to lead them in is something. We're going to have to figure this whole time change thing out. I mean, obviously.
Why?
Well, all the time, the schedule changes.
What do you mean the schedule changes?
I have to go do things earlier than I normally would because the sun is setting earlier.
Oh. Okay.
See what I'm saying?
The nighttime chores are 15 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, not horrible. So.
Grain the steers. Put the donkeys away.
Put the goats away. Check for babies, which there aren't any yet. Not really sure why there are no babies yet.
Jeff, are you not watching the webcam? You can see if Ethel had her baby. Is he trying to create conversation?
I think Jeff just wants to be here, so he's just gonna make things happen. Yeah.
So when the goats and Ethel get close to actually giving birth, they'll actually disappear from the goat pen and they'll go into the barn.
Yeah, so we've got a little.
You're not a stalker. It's on the internet, Jeff. You can watch the webcam.
So we've got a small nursery set up in the barn that's ready for everybody. Although I think when Ethel and Leonard, they're going to have to get separated when Ethel has her full. Leonard will go probably across the road or something, and then everything will work out a little bit better. I think Ethel in one stall, goats in the other stall. Probably not so much.
Probably not goats and Ethel together.
Probably not. No, I'd be afraid that she'd roll over on one or something like that. So definitely.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you won't see them, and then once they're big enough, then they'll go back to the goat cam area.
Yeah.
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 They can't stay in the barn all winter.
No, they can't. They would have to eventually go back out.
And Ethel's baby's going to be bigger than the goats.
I hope so. Honestly, I have you ever been around a baby donkey before?
Bigger than Cruella.
Maybe. Who knows?
Her 18 babies that are inside of her are going to be the size of kittens.
Yeah, Cruella's a little bit large.
Large.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm guessing 2, but who knows?
I say 2, at least 3. I think Fancy only has 1 or 2.
Really? Now, Fancy could be a whole month behind, depending on how they cycle.
She's just not as big.
She's not. She's definitely smaller. So.
Thank you, Garrett, for the super chat. We appreciate it.
Erin's actually drinking hot water, aren't you?
Just water with lemon. Lincoln has a bit of a cold, and I think I just feel that very beginning.
Of a cold?
Yeah.
Great.
Maybe it's just that my body feels weird today because of the time change.
I woke up at like 4 o'clock this morning.
I did too.
And I looked at the clock and I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
I woke up at, I usually get up, we usually get up somewhere between 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
One of us is usually up right around like 5:30ish. That's kind of my normal time anymore to wake up. So I woke up at 5:30 and it was 4:30. So the clock said 4:30 because ours change automatically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, nope, I got to try. So I made it like another hour.
Yeah, you did good. From Garrett S., $5 super chat. Hey, Mike and Erin, I'm glad finally made it to another live. Thanks for everything you do. We're doing, 3 live streams a month, basically. So we've got the 2 that we do for Beyond the Ranch regular channel, anybody that can come. And then the last live stream of the month is our Patreon exclusive live stream. So, yeah, 3 isn't bad. We used to do them every single week, and that's kind of gets to be a little much, especially when you got other things going on. Wintertime, obviously, schedules change, even with filming and with, everything on the ranch changes during the winter. So it's definitely different.
Yeah. We just feel weird today.
I know. I definitely feel weird.
Erin, you look cold. I am cold. Lincoln is sick, and so he's got growing pains. So he actually took a bath, and then he came and crawled in my lap and was cold, so he wanted covered, so he fell asleep. And I was like, oh, well, I'm cold too. So we got warmed up, and then I had to extract myself from the cocoon that he had created.
Right.
And then he woke up. So he had a nice little 45-minute nap or so before this.
Yeah. JB Weld asked how Halloween was. Very nice. We had a beautiful Halloween here. Temperature was like in the 50, 60 degrees, something like that.
Yeah. The kids were hot, because we picked them up from school, and our Main Street downtown area does a really nice, all the businesses do candy and stuff. The Chamber of Commerce handed out cotton candy, which was a big hit. Mackenzie's chicken costume was. Yeah,
if you actually get the newsletter, we put a picture, and you put it on Facebook also, didn't you?
And Instagram. So, it was really nice. It gets cold regardless of how warm it is during the day. Like when the sun goes down, it gets cold. So by the end, we were all kind of chilly. But Carrie actually saw the Halloween bowl, which Lincoln had dumped all of his stuff. His pumpkin was completely full, and in fact, when we were doing
his bucket
when we were doing door-to-door stuff, he made me put candy in my pocket because he was like, it's too heavy. But we have a popcorn bowl that Lincoln then put all of his candy in, and Carrie's like, is that all 3 of the kids? I was like, no, that's just Lincoln.
Just Lincoln's. Yeah, we trick-or-treated for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Total.
And we had dinner and stuff in there too.
We had McDonald's. We didn't really have dinner.
Well, we went inside.
Well, okay, we did sit down. We went to a sit-down restaurant, which was really nice. So, kids ended up with tons of candy. So, and Erin's been systematically rating the candy.
I know.
And Lincoln's been sorting through his too, which I think is
all over his bedroom floor.
Yeah, he's got candy everywhere.
He needs to clean that up, but he's sick.
Yeah, of course he is.
Yeah, I told Grace the other day that I stole some of her candy. She's like, you stole my candy? How much? And I was like 2 pieces.
What do you owe
Grace.
me? You're gonna get a bill in the mail from that kid.
I've been stealing. I just rotate, so I'm not just stealing from one kid.
Oh, okay.
So, because that's not fair. So I just go get a piece from
each one.
Yeah, once
And also you're working off the calories because you have to walk.
I have to walk.
Yeah, you have to walk around, so that works out great.
And Mackenzie's is in a pillowcase, so you got to rummage through there.
Mackenzie wanted to use a pillowcase this year. I don't know where she came up with the idea. Horrible idea.
Yeah, it was awful.
It was so hard. You would think pillowcases would be easy to use, but she could not. It wouldn't open.
Well, in the chicken costume.
It's 3 feet long. In the chicken costume. She couldn't see. She couldn't go up and down steps very well. I was afraid she was just going to fall right on her face eventually.
I know, and it was funny because we were like, oh, we finally have a kid that shouldn't fall down steps, right? Because those toddler years are rough.
Yeah, lots of steps.
We used to trick or treat with a bunch of friends who all had kids around the same age as the kids and stuff, and inevitably within the first 3 houses, at least one toddler took a major digger on some concrete.
For sure. JB Weld with a $20 super chat. Teach the kids about taxes. Take 30% of the candy take. I think she takes more than that. I think there's been a tax hike around here. So
I did take some French fries the other day when we picked up food. I made them give me French fries as I passed the food back. So
You're just working in all
I
kinds
was
of
like,
stuff.
you have to pay Mom.
Life lessons,
And Grace would hand me one French fry.
delivery fee, and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah. That's funny.
Make them hate taxes early. They don't really understand tax, or like they, they'll buy stuff on Amazon with their own money. And Grace is the most like financially aware.
She's independent.
Yeah. And she's like, Kenzie's just like, thinks she has an unlimited pool of money because she'll just go ask Grammy if she can do some chores. And Grace does chores too and gets paid. But Grace always has way more money than anybody else. But she's always like, how much is shipping? When they order stuff with their own money. And it's like, well, it's Amazon Prime. It's no shipping. And then I was like, but you got to pay tax. And so we've discussed tax. They don't get it.
No. November 1st official steal your kids' candy while they're at school day. Yeah, I did that too. I mean,
They're not going to eat it all.
It did throw me off today when Grace, she was, I don't know what she was doing, but she said, it feels like it's 8 o'clock. And I didn't know anybody had the time change talk with her yet. So I said, did anybody tell you about the time change? Somebody did. Did you tell her about it?
I think they are old enough now
That they get
know.
it? Yeah. Because do you remember as a kid, like time changing at all?
Yeah.
I don't remember it at all.
Because in one ear, out the other.
Yeah, probably. I don't remember it. Just moved right along.
The kids, I mean, there's obviously some stuff the kids don't like. So, like, I stole an Almond Joy from Grace the other day. She doesn't like those.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm really just doing her a favor. And I'll end up
so
throwing
nice.
it away at Easter time. I feel like, oh my God, can we get rid of that?
Yeah, there are some candy that just kind of seem to linger. Those lingering candies, like the what's something that just never gets eaten.
Well, the sheer volume they can't.
Well, that too, but there are candies that just don't ever seem to get eaten. I'll skip by them.
They don't like Three Musketeers, and nobody likes Almond Joys.
I'll eat Almond Joys. I'll
Yeah,
send them my way.
Well, you know where their buckets are at.
I know. I do need to start going digging around for those things.
We don't get any trick-or-treaters at our house.
Boy, Matt had 200 or 300 trick-or-treaters. Oh my gosh, that is wild.
We had nada.
Well, we weren't here, so how do we
Well,
know?
We have cameras.
True.
And we
There
leave
was
our
no
porch.
ghosts or goblins walking around.
We
so
leave our porch lights on too.
Let's see. Boy, lots of candy's a good thing. Recommend icons next to chat names for Patreon members. I don't know.
can't
I don't
do
think
that.
I can do that.
They're two separate systems.
Yeah, totally different. But there is like a weird YouTube membership
But we
thing,
have
but we don't. I don't have
Patreon.
that turned on.
No,
so.
we have Patreon.
Yeah.
We don't have YouTube membership. And plus, like, if you were a member on Owl, you wouldn't be a member on Beyond the Ranch.
Yeah. See.
Too confusing.
And yeah, that's crazy.
So.
How can the kids not like Three Musketeers?
No, they just don't.
Butterfingers are. I used to really like Butterfingers.
I'll eat
What's
them.
your favorite candy out of whatever?
Twix.
Twix.
Yeah.
Used to like Kit Kats. Twix are good.
I like a Snickers. I like a Milky Way. I can eat a Reese's. I'll eat Reese's, but it's not like my...
Really? See, Reese's would probably be
favorite.
my go-to if I had to. If I had to go raid a basket or a bucket right now, that's
going
probably what I'd take.
For a Twix or a
And everybody
Snickers.
knows Kenzie loves Reese's, so she gets like just buckets of Reese's.
Well, yeah, so the kids get, like, they're spoiled, right? And so, like, Gary and Susan give them big candy bars. Michelle got them big candy bars. Jeff gave them cash because he didn't go to town.
Too much work.
And then my mom gave them, I think Lincoln got 3 full-size Hershey bars from Grammy, and Mackenzie got this, like, huge thing of Reese's.
Yeah, which is gone, by the way. She ate that whole thing. I don't get it. Did you get it?
They don't. So Marcia, we were talking about the peanut butter taffy that's in the orange and black wrappers. They don't make that anymore. You can't find it. But I remember that as a kid having
Oh yeah, those. Yeah.
so many of those.
Yeah.
that
See,
were
now I never
disgusting.
liked Tootsie Rolls. Like those could just go away.
Oh, I like those.
Really? See, I never liked those. Did you get, as a kid, when you went trick-or-treating, did you ever have the house that gave full-size candy bars?
I think there was one, and there was one that gave little cans of treetop apple juice.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Go get a drink along the way.
We never drank it
I keep on
the
hearing
way.
about these mythical houses that, give the parents like a drink.
I know, we
Or,
need to
we
find
never
those.
find those. I don't know where those
Gary
are at.
gave you a drink.
Well, he did. Yeah, Gary.
Michelle gave us drinks.
True. We found those too late, though, so we were already done by that point. So, yeah, being able to there wasn't, didn't somebody say something about somebody was giving away like the little
Shooters.
airplane bottles? Yeah. I would go with that.
I saw the potato thing. Giving out a potato is a new trend. I saw that on Facebook or something.
Yeah, there was a thing that they had a basket outside and they had potatoes in one and candy in the other to see which would go.
Should I give out broccoli? We don't have trick-or-treaters.
You could have gave out carrots that would have filled up a bag.
Yeah.
Lots of carrots and beets. Lots of beets. You could give out beets. I don't know if kids would want beets, but yeah.
There was a super chat back there.
From College Station, Texas. Never thought I'd have to ask you all, but what is it like to have rain? That's from Garrett.
It's been a minute since it's rained.
It sleeted yesterday, so all the snow that we had is now gone.
Yeah.
That's all melted off.
It's supposed to
yeah.
snow this week.
Yeah, what were you telling me? What was the forecast?
Like
it was
5 inches.
Like 5 inches of snow coming. So
And like cold. It's supposed to get down to single digits. For
yeah,
the first
Monday, tomorrow we've got a relatively nice day, and then it kind of drops slowly or fast until it's winter again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lots of snow on the ground.
And
so.
the wind's going to blow 65 tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw that. I was thinking about weighing steers.
Saw that. I told you that.
Well, you told me that. I saw it too after you told me. But yeah, I was thinking about doing some stuff tomorrow, and I don't feel like blowing away. So
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I also have to go give a presentation at a coal mine on Tuesday
Why do you have to give a presentation at a coal mine?
for Edible Prairie Project
Oh, very cool.
for fundraising.
Trying to get some of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get money.
Trying to get some of that cash money out of them. Yeah.
That's what I do.
Did you guys ever run into the dreaded healthy food house that gives out fruit or apples? Yeah, I tossed those instantly. The big one, I mean, you see a lot of houses now that just have the bucket of candy outside, and when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I imagine they have small children,
oh, and they're probably out trick-or-treating as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, that makes sense.
but they want to pay the candy tax. You know, we don't pay the candy tax because we don't contribute to the system.
What is the candy tax?
We don't put any candy into the Halloween system. We just come to town and take the candy.
And we just go into town and just run around and loot the place and then run back home? So technically, are we supposed to put like when you say trick-or-treat and then we hand somebody else candy?
Maybe when we find one of those buckets that's empty, we should have a bag of candy.
Just fill it back up. Yeah, there we go. Good to go. But like with bit of honey or something like that.
I like those.
Yeah, I know you like those. They get stuck in your teeth forever. You're tasting bit of
Snacks
honey for the
later.
next 3 hours. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't mind those at all.
thank you, JB Weld, for that super
Thank
chat.
you.
50-mile-an-hour winds today for Feathered Life. Didn't Matt say they had like 75-mile-an-hour winds in Chicago too the other day?
It's not tax, it's candy welfare. We're on welfare.
That works for me.
Social services, Jared.
You can't say that. Orange and black wrappers are still out.
We didn't see any.
Didn't see any of those.
And I haven't seen any for years. So, I wonder where people are getting the orange and black wrappers. Like, are they still left over from the 80s and 90s?
They could be. Like your grandma. Remember she had that dish of candy that like sat on her coffee table or whatever, and it was like 30 years old. It was all like the unwrapped candy, like the little hard candies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those.
Old-fashioned.
You'd go to pick one up, and the whole bowl would come out.
Okay. Well, yeah, I haven't seen those for a long time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's always good to talk about candy.
It derailed train cars, William? How windy was it?
So there was 100-mile-an-hour winds on I-25. I saw that.
Yesterday?
Yeah. Lots of trucks blowing over, all kinds of stuff. It was a very windy day, pretty much everywhere.
It wasn't windy here. Was that yesterday?
It wasn't horribly windy yesterday, no.
I don't even remember yesterday. Yeah, no, it was windy because I was in the high tunnel and it was windy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Pretty windy. Alrighty, guys. 20 minutes into this thing, and we're finally going to break away from candy, maybe. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them up. We'll be sure to answer them. Also, the guys with the blue names, the little wrenches next to their name, those are our moderators. And if they see a question, you guys feel free to throw it up for us as well. A lot of times we don't get to see it depending on how fast the chat is moving. So we do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And we do appreciate our moderators for keeping us all in line. William Dunn, Matt Fensel, Bill the Tractor Man. Jeff Lake is here with us as a moderator from San Francisco, California. And Zach here? I don't know if I saw Zach or not, and Lori Habel as well. So thank you guys for taking care of all of that. Big thing that in yesterday's video, was it Saturday's video? I actually, at the end of the video, if you didn't catch it, I threw up all of our Patreon supporters, which first time I've ever done that, had a scroll basically, you know, like credits or whatever, and had all of our Patreon supporters there listed. That was pretty impressive when I watched that back. It was almost 4 minutes of just scrolling names, and obviously, all you guys that are Patreons as well, thank you very much. But thank you for being here at our live stream and supporting us here also. So, very cool, and thank you for that. Coming up in November, your gardens are pretty much done, except for you still got some stuff going on inside, don't you?
Yeah, the high tunnel is still going. We have beets and carrots, cilantro, kale, rainbow chard, lettuce, spinach, radishes, and arugula.
How long will that keep going?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. It's supposed to be 6 degrees for a low this week, so we'll see if we can make it through that. I am putting row cover and stuff on it, and like I'm not done making salsa, and like I'm trying to freeze tomatoes and stuff because I don't have time to make salsa right now. So I would like the cilantro to keep going. And it's cold hardy, like it will survive a light frost, but if I put a few layers of row cover on it, I hope we'll keep going through like Christmas.
Wow.
Well, until like the farm store closes, which we close like at Christmas and then open like mid-January. So yeah, I'm hoping to still, like the beets and carrots are gonna be fine. I just don't know how long we'll have spinach and lettuce.
Are the carrots, so your outdoor carrots were extremely large. If you follow us on Facebook, you saw some crazy carrots. Are the carrots that are growing in the high tunnel, are they just as big?
They're big, but they're not like insane big like outside.
Okay.
So
You think that's just a soil difference?
I think it's just a time of the year because like now we're at almost 10 hours of daylight, just like right above 10 hours of daylight. And once you hit 10 hours of daylight, basically stuff doesn't grow.
Okay.
So we actually plant that like in August so that it's like stuff's finished by this point. Like it's not, once you hit that 10 hours of daylight, which at our latitude is always run like the 5th of November, and we don't get more than 10 hours of daylight until about the 5th of February, stuff just sits there and it doesn't do anything.
Does it go like dormant?
It doesn't go dormant, it just doesn't grow.
Okay.
So like if I cut the spinach, like, I mean, if it stays alive and I keep watering it and keep covering it, like it'll grow, but like it becomes not worth the time. It's going to take 4 months to regrow, whereas in the summer it takes like 4 days.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, I do cover it with frost protection or row cover. You can get it, like I get mine from Farm Tech. You can get it from any like garden supply place. It's frost cover, row cover.
And it has like a +3 degrees, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's rated. So I have some stuff that's +8. That's the heaviest stuff, and then some that's 6.
Okay.
And then in theory, the cover of the high tunnel is essentially like 4 degrees. So I usually just do the math and then put the appropriate amount of row cover on. So
Interesting. Next, farm implement evaluation. Boy, I don't know. So we're the Hustler Showdown, which we're working with Hustler Equipment on that stuff. We're trying to do one of those a month. That's what I agreed to do with them. So we already dropped one this month, so next one will be in December. I don't think I have any new equipment or anything like that that's going to be evaluated in November. We did have, so with the cake bucket, this is the really cool thing about Hustler. I got a lot of emails afterwards from chicken farmers, which kind of surprised me. But they were looking for ways to be able to feed chicken food. And apparently they put chicken food like in troughs.
Oh, yeah.
So they were like, well, can we use the cake bucket, fill it, and they'll put out like a ton of chicken food.
Yeah.
So, will that work? So we're actually going to test that before our next.
what are you going to do? How are you going to catch the chicken food?
No, what I'm going to do is we talked about, we're going to make pig food or chicken food or whatever, and then just put it in the cake feeder.
Gotcha.
On the front, and then discharge it into whatever our container is going to be. We don't have to be driving. We just want to see how well it discharges like chicken food.
Well,
And even Hustler's like, well, I don't know. Let's try that out.
what if it gets stuck?
Then we've got a big bucket of chicken food that we got to figure out what to do
we'll
with.
have to
But
shovel it.
we'll have to shovel it.
Too
Yeah.
bad Jeff's gone.
But we one of the things that we noticed in the last Hustler video with the cake feeder was that it does have leaks. It's made for cake, which is much bigger. And we ran some Creep, which is a calf supplement, through it, and that's much smaller. And it did find some few cracks and crevices and stuff that it went through.
Are you
So
gonna like spray foam it?
actually, I thought about that. Either that or duct tape. And Hustler Equipment came up with the suggestion to just take silicone and just fill it in, because basically it's where the hydraulic hoses come into the bucket, and they say just fill it full of silicone, because we can take it out if we have to, and it's not going
take
to ruin
spray foam
anything.
off.
You could chip out spray foam.
You could
probably.
Alcoda the spray foam off.
Probably could, actually. That probably would work.
Some people said you missed their name.
So if your name wasn't there, number one, you might have missed it, because it was going by
It
pretty
made my
fast.
eyes hurt. I was like, it's too fast, and you're like, it's 4 minutes long.
Yeah, I was like, I can't make it any longer. I mean, I could have made it longer, but so that all those names that were taken there were taken directly off of Patreon for that day. So, and actually, if you notice, they were actually in order. So if you go back and watch, the very first ones are our very earliest Patreon supporters. If you joined within the last couple weeks, then your name would be down towards the end. If your name wasn't on there and you're positive it wasn't on there, then you might want to check with Patreon, because you may not be a current Patreon supporter. Sometimes if you're you get a new credit card, you get a new, like a new.
Mine just expired,
Yeah.
and I had to get a new one. Oh my god, what a pain in the butt.
Yeah, you got to go change your expiration date.
You get all those emails on the first of your card's declined, your card's declined, your card's declined. I'm like, oh, it's just a new expiration
Just a new
date.
card, make it work.
I tried to buy Starbucks on the app, and
Couldn't do it? Oh my
I had
gosh.
to use my Apple Pay instead of my, which is the same card, but
Yeah. Keith, are you going to put a windbreak up for the A team, because the B team has the barn? I need to. I've got a plan for it. I've actually got a couple really, really big panels that are solid panels that I could put up just to protect it from the wind. And I need to do that before the ground freezes solid.
not tomorrow.
No.
Maybe this week.
If
It's
there's
gonna
no
be
wind,
cold.
it's going to be cold, but I mean, I can work in the cold if there's no wind. The wind is the great equalizer. Like if the wind is blowing, it doesn't matter how nice it is outside. It's just horrible to work
Yeah.
in. So, yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, featherlight. We could like to use it for feeding sheep. So yeah, it's got definitely. That's one of the cool things.
What do you feed your sheep though?
Well, if you use like crepe or
Sheep cake.
sheep cake, they make sheep cake.
Gilbert used to feed it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Jared said he saw some names twice. What's it exported just from Patreon?
Yeah, it
Those
was-
people are twice members. I don't know.
Maybe it's just a common name. I don't know.
Aaron, did you visit the DL? What's the DL?
Driver's License Bureau.
No, I have not. Been busy.
Are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Don't tell people.
Why, it make you look bad? I'm not the one that told people. Feel free to answer any questions.
I'm reading.
I'm doing this.
It is going to be chilly.
Very, very cold. Let's see.
Lori, have no idea. You guys would have to check that out on your end.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I have no idea. William asked if the hunters are still here. Nope, hunting season ended at the end of October. So we actually, I think 2 or 3 days before the end of October was our last hunter that we had in here. So no more hunters. Is Matt coming back this winter? That would be a question you have to ask Matt. And a $20 super chat from Jared there. How much snow will you need to get, and how long for it to be on the ground before you go pulling the cows off the pasture for the winter? I see some storms coming in mid-November. Honestly, that's a great question, by the way. So the grass and stuff that's down there is probably about a foot or two high. Once that grass is covered, we'll probably end up pulling cows off. Also, the big thing is temperature-wise. We've got water down there, and I think I said in the last video, like eventually I'm going to get tired of going down and breaking open water tanks because we don't have electricity down there. So, yeah, I don't know what. I'm hoping to be able to stretch this out a little bit, but
so we got 5 inches of snow coming, but like our daytime temperatures are still gonna be above freezing, and the wind's gonna blow. So
we'll have a lot of drifting.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that all the grass will get covered and stuff. And like some people don't feed their cows. Like some cows are just
We've got neighbors that don't feed at all.
Don't feed, yeah. Like
it's like you're on your own, and those cows.
Unless they get like the spring, April blizzards and stuff. But like you can raise your cattle to where they just go forage.
Yeah.
Ours would stand at the gate and be like, "Oh my God, we're dying." They were raised that way.
I actually had a scare because I went down trying to find the cows after that snow, and I couldn't find the cows anywhere. And they'd went and hid in a little coulee ravine type thing. So I drove right past them probably 3 times. But yeah, they're not. Our cows are not going to go root around in the snow to find grass. I don't see them doing it. I don't think they've been trained that way.
So a little bit of snow they will, but like a lot of snow. And so it just depends on like how much the wind blows and how much the ground gets covered. And because we can get 5 inches of snow, we can get a foot of snow and have bare spots of ground.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, we could have. The last blizzard we were in April that we had, like there was bare spots.
Yeah.
And we had 18, 19 inches of snow.
Was it that much?
It was something. It was some amount of snow. It was a lot. I'll give you that. No. Are you butchering any turkeys for Thanksgiving?
No, they're just pets.
They're
really fun. I like them.
Do you go out and play with the turkeys?
I do some.
Yeah, they're pretty friendly. Like they'll come right up to you and they want to hang out. So.
Yeah. Pelletized food along with silage, both corn and hay. I think you could run. I mean, you can run your pellet food through it.
Well, it'd be interesting to know. Like I think Jeff mentioned in the video. Like, could you run silage through it too?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But if you're feeding hay, you get a bale processor on the back and feed your corn and your pellets in the front.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it all. From Keith, what's your daily rate of gain or weekly gain on the steers? Right now we're sitting about 3. Actually, the last time we did, this was Saturday's video, when we weighed the B team, they were right around 2 pounds a day, so we actually upped their food. And my plan is from here on out to be able to weigh them about once a week so that we can really kind of keep track of how often.
Higher than 2.
What?
I thought your little scribbled note on the computer said 3.
Downstairs?
Yeah.
That was last time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so we we're going to start basically weighing them every week so that we can really keep track of where their gain needs to be. I don't need them to have 5 pounds of gain per day. That could not, technically that could be unhealthy for them. But if we could keep them at that 3 to 4 right in there, I'm pretty happy with that. The FBN Grow Mix really does seem to be helping. Like the B team has been on it the entire time that they've been in the feedlot. The A team has only been on it for half the time. So you can definitely see a difference there too. That they were started on it in lower rations, and I think that made a big difference. Yeah. The A team, which they're now gone, while they did gain weight from the last time that we weighed them, it wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't really uniform throughout all 5 of them.
Yeah.
Like one of them was gaining 5 pounds a day. The other ones were gaining 2 and 3.
And that could also be like a genetics thing too.
Very much, yeah, very well could be, yeah.
And that's something that we would eventually look back and be like, wow, this one gained a lot and its mom was this one. So...
That's where the more records you have, the better.
Yeah, having a consistent rate of gain would be great, but like you can't. It's not always the steer's fault that it didn't gain 5 pounds a day, where it's like one was gaining 5 pounds a day and one was gaining 2 pounds a day. There can be environmental stressors and genetics and stuff that play into that and stuff too. So
all kinds of crazy stuff. One of the things we did figure out was, and you probably saw it, is we started grinding our food that we gave the steers, and we actually failed, lack of imagination, to realize that when you grind the food down, it's going to weigh differently in a bucket. And so that was actually brought by our neighbor Michelle. She was like, wonder how that works. Yeah. And being able to, figure that, that made a big difference once we were able to figure that out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because we kind of were overgraining, and we kind of had a little bit of like, wow, that one's laying down and all stretched
that's not
out.
good. Yeah.
Are we okay?
Somebody's moaning. Yeah.
So they were actually getting, it changed the surface area, it changed the volume, it took out all the air.
Right.
And oats and barley and corn, air between that. When you grind it all into a grind, it was a lot denser, and so yeah, we actually kind of were over grinding them. Luckily, nothing bad happened. They did have some gastrointestinal distress.
We had lots of farting going on over there, that's for sure.
And some diarrhea and stuff, which could contribute to the not as much gains as we had hoped.
Yeah.
So.
Also, if you're following us on the YouTube, we're now posting YouTube shorts as well. And from Pam and Joe in Wisconsin, all the bees on the chicken feeder, was that the result of something mixed in the feed? I think it was the sunflower oil that we mixed in the seed or the chicken feed.
Was it sunflower or soybean?
Well, now I don't remember. I think it's soy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was soybean oil.
Yeah.
And it smelled really good. The bees loved it. The funny part was they were there for one day. The next day they were gone.
Well, and there's nothing blooming for them.
Right.
And Tudor Kid also came out and fed them too. Like, they're not our bees. There's a beekeeper that takes care of them. And they'll leave for the winter here shortly. But he came out and fed them too. So
right.
They were probably just hungry. And
it was pretty impressive though. If you go back and watch on shorts, there were millions of bees. Well, maybe not millions. I didn't count them. There was a lot of dang bees, and they were swarming the chicken feeder. And even the chickens were like, "What the heck is going on here?" Like, yeah, like I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and the next day I noticed there were some over there, but not nearly as many. So, just kind of a weird. Weather conditions must have been right, and
yeah,
moisture.
It was surprising.
Yeah, moisture might have been right.
Did you notice them first?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could hear it from a ways away. I was like, what is that?
Well, and they were really bad in the garden that day.
Oh, were they really?
Like, Carrie and I were getting swarmed. Because there was still, like, some broccoli that had gone to flower and some bok choy and stuff. And so, like, they were really all over the garden and stuff, too. So.
Yeah. From Robert, are you guys still using the tubs of feed supplement for the cows and the scrubs? Yes, they're getting feed supplement. The ones that are in the feedlot already, they don't need any tubs because everything's included in that FBN Grow Mix. So
lick tubs.
Lick tubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have to supplement them with anything too crazy.
Can you scroll more?
Yeah. Now it's too cold for bees, but that day it was pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I don't know, Carrie would know, and she's here. They'll leave the hive, like, when it's, like today, this afternoon, they probably were out. It wasn't super warm. It was, like, 38 or something, but it was sunny, and there was no wind this afternoon. So, like, they were probably out and about.
Probably.
They do acclimate to, like, the temperature and stuff. What's hard here is our up and down of temperature. Like, if we got to 20 degrees and below and stayed that way, it'd be great. But, like, we freeze and thaw all winter long, and that's really hard on bees. Also because it builds humidity and stuff inside their hive, too. Which,
wow. Did you take a bee class or something?
No, I just know a beekeeper.
You're smart. John Paul Henry asked, will the A team be the last team of cows that you send off for processing before Christmas? Yes, the next B team will go in January. So yeah, the new A team goes in January. The other, so this will be the last big push before Christmas. So if you are looking at becoming a Patreon supporter, or you are already a Patreon supporter and ordering beef and pork, these ones will be back, in a few weeks?
I don't know. Last time it took 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, so hopefully they're back before Christmas, and we're able to get another really good shipping before Christmas falls for gifts and all that kind of good stuff. So also on Patreon here recently, we kind of had a little bit of a poll or a straw poll type of thing, discussion about shipping beef and what people were looking for and what they wanted. And the overall consensus was that people wanted to be able to pick so on Patreon right now, and you order beef and pork, we have packages set up, and they're 10-pound packages. So we have like a slow cooker package, we got a barbecue package.
10-pound packages.
Right. And we got a steak package, and we've got all that kind of stuff. But Erin makes those packages, and she, says this is what you're going to get, and you're not going to throw a fit. Well,
there's always 6 packages.
Yeah.
So
there's like 6 packages that you can choose from.
Yeah.
The big thing is now that through this straw poll that we did, people wanted to be able to make their own packages. So we're actually in the process of getting that up and running. So if you've been
we'd been working on this
for quite a while, but now we're like, okay, let's do it, figure out how to do it. So if you are thinking about becoming a Patreon, so you can order beef, but you said, I don't really like the packages, that will be changing. So if you can become a Patreon now, And then that way, when we do make the switch, you know about it right away because it's just going to kind of drop. So, not sure when. Coming up here in the next few weeks.
Do I get gophers in the garden? I had voles one time.
Yeah, you don't even see rabbits in there anymore.
We had rabbits.
We did. We had a couple rabbits that were living in there.
They went bye-bye.
All that Beckart fencing.
Yeah. We had a turtle this year, and I was like, oh, no, out, because anything amphibian, reptile carries potentially salmonella. So
Right, so you don't want them in the garden.
Do not want them in the garden. Yeah, I had voles one year, and you can tell it's a vole, according to the internet, because you can't see a hole. And with a mole, you'll have an entry or exit hole,
Right.
like a gopher hole. But yeah, there was just like mounds of dirt. But it only, I don't know, it didn't hang out very long, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sky King asked, do farmers and ranchers get a discount on propane or diesel in Wyoming? So you cannot pay the road tax
Yeah, we
on
have
diesel.
off-road diesel.
Yeah, so we have off-road diesel. We don't have
We
off-road
still
propane.
pay some tax.
Yeah,
There's
oh, yeah.
still some tax on it. It's just not
We
like.
don't pay the highway tax.
Yeah, we don't pay the state highway tax. We still pay the federal taxes. So it's a tiny bit cheaper.
Yeah.
But not much.
Still
Like,
over $5 a gallon.
Yeah, we just got it filled. What was it?
$5.30 something. Ridiculous. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, when we got it filled during Hain, one time it was about $5.30. Another time during Hain it was $4.90.
Yeah, you were all excited. It's under $5.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the slip this time.
It's on the bench in the shop. I looked at it, but it is what it is. But no, we don't get much of a discount, unfortunately.
No.
Do you have any issues with your net wrap on your hay? Freezing to your hay? Yeah, all the time. We go through freeze and thaw cycles just like any place else. So as that snow
No,
melts.
not all places freeze and thaw. Like Minnesota doesn't freeze and thaw. North Dakota doesn't freeze and thaw. It's just winter. It's just winter every day. We freeze and thaw.
Yeah, so we'll get snow on the bales. It'll melt. You get water,
Ice.
and then you get ice.
I get a lot of ice build
Yeah.
up on them and stuff. That's
So-
why like stacking helps.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're taking off the top of the stack, it doesn't matter. And there's always some part of the
Some
bale
part.
that's exposed. So
Well, not the whole bale.
not the whole bale, but you will get that part that's frozen, and you gotta,
You just have to rip it off.
yeah, or you don't.
The cows eat around it. They don't eat it.
Um,
I just heard of Wagyu beef. Does your beef resemble that, or is that just not feasible? Wagyu is a breed of cattle. So in order to have Wagyu beef, you have to have a Wagyu cow.
right.
And then if you have a fish, like Wagyu is actually derived from a very specific region in Japan,
Yes.
right? So any Americans that are raising Wagyu are not actually raising traditional Wagyu.
Honestly,
There's
yeah,
rules.
there's rules to it.
There's very much like rules and stuff. You see a lot of people now trying to do like Wagyu Angus cross. What's the other one? Kobe cross. Is it Akaguchi? There's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And we don't know what we're gonna do with genetics, but that's 5 years from now. But yeah, it's a breed of cattle, and it's traditional Japanese Wagyu is very different from American Wagyu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a fascinating thing. Like, I don't know hardly enough about it to talk about it on the internet, but
Well, that doesn't stop some other people from talking
I
on the
know,
internet.
but-
Just make up shit as you go.
it's so marble. It's so fast. It's completely different than American beef cattle.
Right. Yeah.
It's not the same thing at all, really.
Let's see if we can get Aaron even more animated. Dennis Waite, how come you don't own 400 or 500 cattle? Because
Well,
we
that's
don't need
really
to.
expensive.
You know what the funny part is? Like, and I don't think people realize
Where's
this.
that comment? I don't even see that comment.
It's up here. Where did I just see it? There it is, right there.
I don't know, Dennis. Why don't you have a couple $1 million in your bank account?
So it is funny though. One thing that we have noticed, and obviously, last year there was 150 cows out here, and now we're down to 50 cows or whatever it is. But like, your profit margins kind of stay the same
Well, they wouldn't
depending
be,
on
though,
how
if
many
we were
cows you
just-
have.
Not really. Not if we were just shipping cattle. If we were highway, we needed shipping. Like, we can't survive on that business model.
Right.
Which is why we're direct to consumer. Because with 50 cows, maybe your profit margin is the same, there's still the economics of scale, right? Like, you have to run the tractor every day. It doesn't cost that much more to feed 150 cows versus 50 cows.
Right.
Right? You're running the fuel. You're running a tiny bit more fuel, but your profit margin might be very similar on a cow, but we couldn't pay the bills if we were just shipping them to auction.
Right.
Right. So.
And why don't you feed cows from a helicopter?
It's just the fuel's too expensive.
I don't know, all kinds of crazy questions here. I'm sorting through things. Let's see. How about round beef or jerky sticks? We tried that. Didn't we do round sticks?
Yeah, they're great. Sturgis can't get their crap together enough for us to.
We had packaging issues
So
with
many
that.
packaging and mold issues. So no, I would love to be able. They're so much better. Like, I love our beef sticks, but the round sticks are just a lot more tender, and like I really enjoyed them when we had them. We had a small batch of them.
They were good.
I don't trust Sturgis enough to invest tens of thousands of dollars of inventory into round sticks. So
Very true. William, how much more does it cost to cover the bale in plastic over the net wrap? I honestly have no idea. I mean, and there's two different things happening there, right? So net wrap, we wrap our bales in net wrap. It does help keep some moisture out, but we're pretty dry here, even with the snow and everything else that we have. Pretty dry. When
those bales are tight, so like moisture's not really.
No,
we
like,
don't get enough moisture for it to like penetrate.
Right, exactly. So the plastic ones, those, what you're seeing there is silage or haylage, and they're making that bale airtight. Now there's no air getting in there, so now fermentation starts to happen, and that's a whole different process. That's completely different. And the reason that they do that 9 times out of 10 is because the people that are harvesting that hay are in areas where they can't get the moisture percentage down low enough in that hay to where they could put it up like we do. Because if you put up hay and just wrap it in net wrap and it's over 15% or 16% moisture, it's going to mold. So they wrap it in plastic. That keeps it from molding, but it does cause fermentation to start to happen in there, which isn't a horrible thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's like
fermentation is good.
protein benefits, and there's it creates different things happen to that hay and stuff when you go through a fermentation process.
Right.
Yeah, protein changes, available nutrition changes and stuff, but like we don't have enough moisture to do hay.
To do that. Yeah, our hay is, I mean, I can cut hay one day and bale it the next day, and it's 13% moisture. So actually, I think the lowest our readers go down is like 14 or something like that. So it's pretty interesting. And then you'll see, obviously not everybody has the ability to bale it. So you'll see piles of silage. They cover it with tarps. That's usually, you see the tarps with all the tires on it or whatever they're using to hold down those tarps.
Well, that also could be corn
Could
silage too.
Yeah, it could be corn silage. But the point is they're trying to keep the moisture in so that it starts to ferment and all those good things happen in there. So just a different way of feeding and a different climate, different area. Everything changes. You can go 100 miles away and it's a completely different style of farming or ranching that's happening with you there. From Trader Joe's, how's Doof Vader doing? He's good. He's hanging out with the steers. He's over there with LOL. I checked on them today. They were just kind of running around and hanging out. So nothing too exciting happening in their world.
I don't think fermented silage makes cows drunk. I mean, sauerkraut doesn't make you drunk.
No, unfortunately.
Kimchi doesn't make you drunk.
It makes sauerkraut a lot more interesting.
Kombucha doesn't make you drunk.
Ever consider raising bulls for sale or even bucking bulls for rodeos? That could be interesting. Fortunately, it's just not something, like there's all kinds of different things you could do. Whether you have interest or not, like I wouldn't have a clue how to pick a good bull.
Bucking bulls for rodeos, again, is a different set of genetics.
Right.
Right? Like, and those, like, oh my God, it's just like horse breeding and stuff. Like, those bulls that, like, go to, like, national finals rodeo and stuff, like, they can trace their lineage back generations, right? Like, they're bred and papered and, like, it's not just like somebody's bull from their ranch. Like, I mean, maybe at a ranch rodeo and stuff, but like not, like to make any money at that, like you have to get into the registered game and the bucking bull registered game.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine the investment, the startup that would cost to be like good at it, to have like a chance. So, no. And we don't have any interest in that. Like, to some extent, you have to have an interest in what you're doing, right? In order to be passionate about it and to be good at it, and that's not our thing. So.
You do have to kind of, like, you could do all the things. Let's do all the things. And
breeding bulls too, like, it's all genetics, right? And it's all traceability. And like, when we buy a registered bull, like, they can go back 6 or 8 different generations, and like they very specifically selected that bull for whatever breeding traits they want in that bull. Like that's not our game, and we don't need to play that game.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just like
definitely.
when people are like, keep a bull from your own herd. Nope, absolutely not. We won't do that.
No. And there are people that do it. I talked to your
Yeah.
uncle today who kept a bull from his own herd and raised it as a herd bull.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that do it.
You can totally do it. We feel it's worth the investment to buy a registered bull that has traceability, that has, the birth weight that we want, and the, eventually like the rate of gain per day that we want and stuff. Like that's all an option when you go window shopping. So.
Yeah. Dan saw an article in 2021, $4 to $450 a bale for plastic wrap. So it's a little expensive to do it.
Yeah.
And then you have to have the machine that does it
Yeah, it's
and all that
equipment.
kind of stuff too. So there's an infrastructure there as well. So
And then a lot of plastic. Like the net wrap's a pain.
net wrap.
Yeah, when you take it off a bale.
Oh yeah.
It
I couldn't
goes-
imagine. I don't know. Honestly, like you take off the plastic wrap. I mean, it has to go somewhere too. Not recycling it. Maybe they
No.
are. I don't know.
I doubt it.
I don't know. Have you ever thought about raising and selling chicks?
Again.
We are looking at maybe doing some hatching out of our own chicks because now we have a very diversified flock at this point.
Yeah, but I'll still buy chicks.
Will you?
Yeah, because I'll still want.
You want some weird
I want some
poofy,
purebreds.
poofy-headed
We'll
ones?
make some ranch mutts, chickens,
ranch mutts.
but I wouldn't sell them. No, again, like they're bred for genetics and for these perfect tail feathers, and these ones are culled because their comb's not enough. Like the amount of work that hatcheries go into their breeding, like their breeding flock, you don't usually see that, but like there's so much work. And like Cackle Hatchery that I buy chicks from all the time, they work with Amish farmers to do their breeding stock, and they're spread out. I think there's 80 some different farms that they have their breeding stock on.
Wow.
Like, I'm not interested in that at all.
We should go there and make a video.
Maybe we'll get some chickens.
Maybe we can get some chickens. Erin, ever consider selling salsa online, or is it an FDA
It's
thing?
an FDA thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like even chickens. Like we get a lot of, you need to sell chickens on the website. We can't do it. They're not USDA inspected. Salsa, carrot cake, caramel rolls, vegetables. Can you ship if somebody wanted a carrot?
Yeah.
Could you ship a carrot?
I can ship a carrot.
Why is that not regulated?
Because it's a raw agricultural product, and it's deemed as a low hazardous item
Oh, okay.
because it's not processed. I couldn't cut a carrot and send it across state lines, but I could sell a whole carrot across state lines because
Interesting.
there's minimal processing involved in it.
Maybe we should put beets online. We got lots of beets.
But so it becomes a perishability thing, right?
Right.
And so like it's not that we couldn't do it, right? Because like obviously like HelloFresh and stuff ships produce and stuff, but like it's not the same as shipping beef. So then again, it becomes another like you need a different liner, and you can't use dry ice, so now you need gel packs or like whatever else. Like we don't need to do all the things.
I mean, that's, it is interesting. Like, there's so many different avenues of agriculture and byproducts and added value products and all kinds of different stuff that you can do. I'm a huge fan of like picking what you want to do and do that really well.
Yeah.
Don't do 10 different things, kind of okay.
Yeah.
Pick 2 or 3 things and just do that really, really super well and make it work for you. And then you become the expert in that.
Yeah, and like the farm store will always have different products available in it that online will not. Like, I'm not saying that we'll never do a commercial kitchen, but even if we did a commercial kitchen, like I have to get FDA labeled, FDA approved, FDA registered for every single product. And like I have to keep, like if you're doing a salsa per se, like you have to keep immaculate records of your pH and your temperature and your preservation methods, and you have to have a logbook and all of this stuff. And we could do all those things, right? I could hire somebody, they could do all those things. Canned items are substantially different than like baked good items and stuff, but like it's not the easiest thing to do. It's not impossible, but it's not the easiest. So Wyoming has the Food Freedom Act. I can make I make literally anything and sell it direct to consumer. if I'm the person selling it direct to the consumer. So I can put almost any product, except for meat products. I can't make like chicken pot pie because USDA gets mad about that. But I can put almost anything into the farm store. Even if we were going to ship stuff and move into like value added products and shipping, like it would start very, very slowly with like very, very few items. So even like carrot cake, it has cream cheese frosting. That's a temperature controlled item. That becomes much more difficult to do and be approved by FDA compared to like a chocolate chip cookie. So there's all these layers of things that go into it, and none of it's impossible, right? Because you can buy a carrot cake on the internet. Farm stores is just the place to go get that stuff. Just come to the farm store. I know that's not possible for everybody, but like if you can make the trip out here, like we'll make it worth it.
It does amaze me. So I actually went back and looked today to see how many people we had come and stay in the Harvest Host this summer. You're not going to believe what it was.
Well, I thought you told us the other day.
No, I actually went and looked, like actually pulled up all the reservations and looked at the total number of reservations for the entire summer. Was 270 reservations for the entire summer.
Yeah.
And those are people that come and have the carrot cake. So there you go.
And tons of just visitors and stuff stop by and stuff. Like, it's great to see people in the summertime.
Yep. So. From Brian there, thoughts about increasing, I never know how to pronounce this word, heterosis in your herd. We actually have quite a bit of diversity.
Do you want to explain what that is?
It's different breeds together. So Hereford, Angus, which we have.
Those are the white-faced ones.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have quite a bit of that. Increasing it, I don't know. I mean, we usually end up with an Angus bull. And, of course, Gilbert had kind of a mixed herd, and you have the red Angus, you have the black Angus, you got the Hereford out there. We probably have some other breeds that are mixed in there as well. So I mean, it's just a matter. It's not something that we're really looking at changing, and we've talked about even just going to a maybe doing a smaller herd that would just be like a registered herd or something like that. But as far as the genetic diversity, I think that there's good things to it. I mean, obviously, we like seeing cows with white faces and that kind of thing, and black cows,
but
white faces.
But I don't think we'd ever buy like a Hereford bull.
I don't think so. No. We never have. So,
no.
Yeah. Erin, have you hired counsel for all this, or is this your own research? Can you do my taxes
Yeah, I've taken a few classes just so that I could like safely can food and like just food safety classes and stuff, so that I was producing food safely out of my home kitchen when I started selling it to other people. And like I was friends with the health inspector, so when I was like, "How do you do this thing?" Like, even though I never did any of those things, right? Like,
health inspector helps. I've always said that if you want to be successful, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, make friends with the plumber, with the electrician, with the folks, the heating and air conditioning guy. They'll save your, if you have those guys' phone numbers and you can call them, and you have a question, just like you have for, with the health inspector. If you have a question, you can ask that question, and as long as you're not afraid to ask it, there's no problem. I mean, you can find out what you need to know, and then move on from there. And you can do things yourself. You can fix your own dishwasher if you want to tick off the dishwasher repair guy, which I did this week. So don't fix your own dishwasher.
Bill, we don't hate Herefords. There's just a history of Herefords here on the ranch, and also a history of foot rot that came with them too. Obviously that was a long time ago, and genetics can change and stuff, but Gilbert tried to raise Herefords occasionally and never had any good experience with them. The Hereford Angus cross has always been okay, but...
So if you pay attention during the videos, and especially if we're in the sale barn, you're going to see a whole lot of Hereford signs and stuff up on the wall, because from the 30s until the mid 90s, like, this was Hereford ranch. They raised Hereford bulls here. They sold heifers off the ranch, and they were almost 100% Hereford. Somewhere along the line, they started having troubles with them, whether it was the high altitude, it was foot rot, there was all kinds of different issues that were happening.
And Angus gained popularity also.
Right.
As
Angus has a really good marketing plan behind it. I mean, people do say that, why do you raise Angus? Well, the NCBA or whoever it was spent a ton of money telling the consumer that Angus is the best. I mean, there was literally a restaurant called the Black Angus.
Yeah.
Like, people associate Black Angus with good steaks. Whether that's true or not is totally your own opinion. But here, if I can tell you this much, if I take Black Angus to auction and I've got a brown cow in there, they're going to separate that brown cow off and they're going to sell it separately.
They want, and we're not doing the auction thing, you guys know that, but they want black and red Angus, and
Yep.
they want solid colored cows,
Yep.
calves. They don't want even the Hereford and Baldy, the Brocco and Baldy crosses. I think almost every rancher loves those, right?
Yeah,
We love those cows.
It's nice to be able to recognize a cow when you go out, and it's like, oh, here comes number 23, or here comes,
But
that's
you know what
nice.
the best cow for us is like Bambi, who often will throw an all black steer, right? Like that's the perfect cow, right? She's cute, she's sweet, you could recognize her, and she throws an all black steer.
Yeah.
Like if we were doing the auction game, that's what we would want. So
Yeah.
I like their white faces.
I mean, that's part of the reason Cracker Jack ended up here on the ranch, because he's a white cow.
Yeah.
We could have taken Cracker Jack to auction as a calf. We would have gotten nothing for him.
Literally like $100.
Yeah. So when he was born, I remember talking to Gilbert about it, and I was like, "Can I keep him and let's raise him up as a lead steer?" And what are we? Obviously he eats a lot and everything else, but like we lost $100 at auction that year. To be able to keep him back.
Yeah,
And
like
now
literally
he's been here for 13 years or whatever it is. Yeah. It's ridiculous. So he's a big baby, which Patty just said. So he is. Let's see. David Harvest Toast. Oh, I remember David stopped at the farm store. Lemon cake. Oh, you haven't made that for a while, have you?
Probably not. No.
Boy, that is good stuff. Yeah, that's really good stuff.
No, we have Angus and Hereford. That's all that's in our herd. Red Angus, Black Angus, and a little bit of Hereford. That's it.
Daniel said all this talk is making me want to buy a ribeye. I think we're out of steak packages on the website. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
We are.
But unfortunately, you might have to wait a little bit. But
There's T-bones still in some of the packages, but
I think the grilling package has T-bones in it.
we are out of sirloins, and I think we're down to a handful of ribeyes, and I have to keep the farm store stocked to some extent too. So
Right.
we kind of play that balance of how much goes into farm store and how much goes online, trying to keep both
It
customers.
is. So when we, like I said earlier, we're going to start selling, I call it a la carte, but it's basically like you build your own package, whatever you want to throw in there. And it's a delicate game that we play, because when you're only taking 5 steers every other month, it's a limited supply you get back. Plus we have to stock the farm store. Plus we have to eat. All of our friends have to eat. So, because there are people that have a little bit of pull when it comes to
Yeah,
Erin.
I mean, I've got some customers that have been buying from us since, we went to farmers market when we started selling beef in like 2014 or so was probably the first year that beef came to farm store and stuff. And like Tracy's been buying ribeyes for a long time. So
Yep.
I will shoot Tracy a text and be like, hey, we got ribeyes back in stock. And like, I will set those aside for her. Those long-term relationships have what have gotten us to where we're at now and stuff too. Like, I don't want to disregard those. And like, we still do have a local store that has a local customer base, and some of them follow us on YouTube. Some of them don't have any idea that we're on YouTube.
They're like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always interesting with weird stuff like, we have equipment show up, or a tractor sitting out here that we're going to test or whatever else. Yeah. And we'll have people that have shopped with us, been around us for years, and they're like, what is happening? Why is there a cameraman here? Or whatever else. It's kind of fun just to mess with them a little bit.
Yeah.
Erin's still looking for a mini Holstein. Erin's looking for a mini cow anything. So if anybody happens to have one fall off a truck in front of their house or anything,
Probably not until after next year.
need to find a home for it, just shoot me an email. We'll figure it out.
We got a budget for the petting zoo.
Can you ship cattle food? I want to start the cow cake challenge. Post a video of yourself eating cow cake. I've eaten cow cake, and anybody who wants to try cow cake, I would have a glass of water or something close by, but it is dry. So yeah, it's definitely it's one of those things like we've actually gotten to that. We try a lot of things that we feed to the cows.
I don't.
I'm not saying you, but
No.
like Jeff and I, Matt and I, when he was here, lick barrel. What's that taste like? Here we go. Let's give it a try.
I've never had any desire to eat any animal.
I don't think I have a desire to. I think
I've
it's
never
more
been
about
like,
a
I'm
curious.
gonna-
It's
no.
curiosity more than anything. You're not curious about anything.
Not about
When you were a
animal
little
food.
kid, did you ever try cat food or dog food?
No.
Really? Never once?
No.
Oh, see? What's the difference between you and Do you sell filet mignon online? That's from Collins Lawn Care Maintenance. Now, last year we had a package that was available just around Christmas time.
Yeah.
That was called
Mike's
Favorites, and in there was the filet.
There was 2 fillets, yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to do that again this year?
Depends on inventory. So what happened last year that isn't happening this year is we got 10 steers back. We took 10 steers last October, and that's just the way it worked out with processing because we kind of had like a gap over the summer, and then we had 10 scheduled for some reason. I don't know why I did that, but that's what I did. So we had a lot of inventory, and we also had pigs come back at that time too. So we had a lot of inventory. So our freezers were super full.
They were.
And so like you don't get a lot of fillets off of, one steer, and like we eat those. We have a few, we throw a few in the farm store, not very many, but we'll throw a few in the farm store.
Occasionally I'll get somebody who asks for one and I'll dip into my private stash.
Yeah. But because we just had gotten 10 steers back, like that allowed us to do a lot of other stuff. Like flank steak was in that package. You only get 2 flank steaks off of an animal. So even like when we get these 5 steers back, I only have 10 flank steaks to get us through until, another 2 months and stuff. But when you got 10 back, like we just had a bigger volume of some of that stuff. So I've tried to do it almost every time, but then like, I don't know, we just have had like some regular customers that come out and get like skirt steaks and flank steaks and a few tenderloins, or like we were out of tenderloins for a while. Like
We were,
we
yeah.
had
It
none.
made me sad.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think I've had a good steak in a while.
I'll make one this week.
I don't think I've had a steak. Yeah, we might have to invite some friends over and have a steak. Steak sauce is definitely a big fat no-no around here. I mean,
There's nothing wrong with steak sauce.
I don't like steak sauce. If I'm gonna, very rarely will I order like a sirloin or something at a restaurant.
I think if you like steak sauce, like eat steak sauce. I don't think that it should be like shamed. Like I like A1 once in a while. There's none in the fridge, but like.
Are you A1 or 57 person?
A1.
A1.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with using steak sauce. If you like steak sauce, put freaking steak sauce on your steak.
First of all, I don't think there's anything wrong with.
There's nothing wrong with it. If that's what you like, then eat it.
You can like what you want, right?
Yeah.
It's when this. We can get into a whole political or sociological conversation, but like when you gatekeep things or you tell somebody you can't do that because I don't like it, that's horse crap.
Yeah.
Like you can, if you want to eat dog food, eat dog food. More power to you. Have fun with that. It's probably maybe not going to kill you. So do what you want to do. I mean, there's so much right now in the whole world that you can't do that because I don't like it, or because I don't agree with you, or whatever else there may be, and it drives me crazy. But anyway, yeah, if you like steak sauce, put steak sauce on your crap.
Sauce.
In our house, there's very rarely is there ever
But when
steak
I
sauce.
make a tenderloin, right, like I salt and pepper it. Like, I mean, there's a whole video on it. But salt and pepper, butter, garlic, and herbs, like it's still seasoning it in a different way. It's just not A1
I don't get it
or
with
57.
food. Bob Hoyer likes horseradish. I hate horseradish. I can't stand it. But I would never say you can't have horseradish on your steak.
Lori Russin says I like ketchup on my steaks. So did Gilbert. He loved the crap out of ketchup.
Ketchup on everything.
And he was an authentic, real Wyoming rancher, and he put ketchup on his steak. So do what you want, right?
Yeah. Do what makes you happy. Why not? Who gives a crap? And if somebody says you can't do that, squirt them with the ketchup bottle.
And I agree. If you have a good steak, you don't need to drown it in steak sauce. But if you like it, then use it.
Make yourself happy. Who gives a crap?
Yeah. I don't know why people get so mad about steak sauce. Like
people pick weird things to like really kind of like. This is the line. That's it. You can't cross that line. And I don't understand it.
We had A1 out here for something this summer. I don't know why, but there was some in the fridge, and like I had a steak, and I put a little bit of steak sauce on it. I was like, oh, this is not bad. And then I'd have a bite with no steak sauce, but like it's not a big deal.
And sometimes it's honestly like sometimes 57 or I like the 57 sauce. If I'm gonna I'm not a huge A1 guy, but it's different.
Yeah,
so
it's
it adds a different
flavor
to that steak.
Yeah.
So it's just.
So my mom always used to make homemade. It's not really homemade, but she used to make a steak sauce when I was a kid, and I remember those steaks as a kid. They'd get cooked on the grill, but she would mix 57 sauce, honey, A1, and butter.
Oh, really?
And then she would. I've made them for you. She would flip the steak in it, and then go stick it on the grill, and it would get caramelized, and like it tasted great. Like it still tasted like beef. And yes, it was covered in steak sauce. Like, and we weren't raising our own beef at that point, but like, it was still a good steak. And I still remember that from my childhood as being a positive experience with a steak. So like, why does it matter?
No. Oh, you know, it's all good,
Like,
guys. You got. I think that there's definitely, like you said, like Gilbert was a Wyoming rancher from neck to knees, and like, yeah, you pour ketchup on everything.
who cares? Grace does. I'm not gonna shame her because she puts ketchup on everything.
No, I would never say that you're gonna. You know, you want to put steak sauce on your steak.
Do it.
And you're not going to ruin it. You're still going to eat it because that's what you want to do. You might ruin it for me. Like okay, now I wouldn't eat that, but I'm not the one eating it. You eat it. Move on. Erin doesn't eat meatloaf. Fabrication Ranch, just to let you know.
Oh,
So
gross.
she won't even cook you meatloaf. I have to get meatloaf out of a TV dinner if I want meatloaf.
You can make your own meatloaf.
I don't know if I could. Can't be that hard, right? Let's see. Ketchup on eggs. Oh. I don't know if I've ever had ketchup on eggs.
I don't like ketchup.
And you don't like ketchup. I don't mind ketchup.
It's not my thing.
You're a mustard person. See, I was never a mustard. That was
Hot sauce.
mustard was like high class. Mustard was up there.
French is yellow is high class.
Yeah, that was we could afford ketchup. Mustard was, beyond our price point.
All right. It is 7:12. We should probably.
Oh my
go to
gosh,
dinner.
yeah. See, the time changed. Threw me all
I
off.
know, right?
We got to get kids dinner, guys. We got to do all of our things. But this is the new time for our live streams, which will be 6 p.m. That'll be the same for the Patreon-only live streams as well. If you would like to join us for those, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Our Wyoming Life and become a Patreon supporter. $1 a month, $10 a year. Really, what do they used to say? Less than a price of coffee per day.
Oh my gosh, way less.
Way less. Yeah, less than one cup of coffee at Starbucks practically.
Like you can get Patreon for a whole month, or you could get like one coffee with almond milk at Starbucks.
There you go.
I like almond milk too. Does that mean I'm a bad rancher?
I don't know. I have a hard time milking all those almonds for you though. It's really hard. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. Head on over to Patreon, like I said. New video coming out tomorrow, which is all about. And Jeff kind of spoiled the whole thing, but Jeff is leaving the ranch, by the way, and tomorrow's video is all about Jeff leaving. We follow Jeff around for his morning chores and have a little talk with him about what he's got planned and all that kind of good stuff. So stick around, make sure you're waiting for that. Tomorrow, next live stream is whenever it happens, the third Sunday of the month. We'll be back here on Beyond the Ranch channel. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to our moderators. You guys earned your pay tonight. Jeff Lake, William Dunn, Matt Fensel, Lori Habel, Bill the Tractor Man, and of course Zach Hewitt. You guys were definitely working, and we really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for hanging out with us once again, and we'll see you next time right here on Beyond the Ranch. Thanks, guys.